There are stories that were never written in books, memories that never made the headlines, yet remain alive like a whisper. And among the many mysteries surrounding the life of Michael Jackson, there is one that few dare to mention: the rumor of a secret show. Not a show planned for crowds, not a spectacle broadcast on television or recorded in official footage, but something different, something intimate, almost spiritual. An event kept only in the memory of those who believe that music does not end with the absence of the one who sings it. A show never seen but felt. A farewell that may not have happened in front of cameras, but revealed itself in the silent dimension of hearts that continued to hear his voice even after the silence. Today, you will step into the story, a narrative that blends memory and imagination, rumor and inner truth. What you are about to hear is a description of this lost spectacle, the secret show of Michael Jackson, the one the world never saw. It all begins with an invitation. No one knows exactly where it came from. Some claim they received an envelope at home. Others swear they found it slipped under the door, as if it had been left by invisible hands. The paper was black, wrapped in a golden glow. In the center, only a phrase written in delicate letters: "Music is eternal and love never dies." There was no location, no date, no signature. Only this phrase, filled with mystery. Those who received the invitation didn't know whether to laugh or keep it as a treasure. Some thought it was a joke. Others felt something different, as if they had been chosen for a meeting that transcended time. The invitation carried no details, but carried a promise. And those who believed realized that something was about to happen, something that could not be explained by logic. The place did not look like a stadium. It did not look like an arena. Those who arrived there described an almost unreal environment. A vast space, wrapped in gentle darkness, lit only by small white lights that looked like stars. There were no crowds, no lines, just a few chairs arranged in silence, as if each one had been reserved for a specific heart. There was no chatter, no applause, only an air of expectation, as if everyone knew something extraordinary was about to take place. The stage was there, but it did not seem built with wood or steel. It looked as though it was made of light. The curtains did not sway with the wind, but pulsed softly, as if they were breathing. It was a kind of setting that does not exist on maps, but only in dreams. And then, without warning, the lights began to move. There were no explosions, no fireworks, no grand effects. It was different, more intimate. A curtain of light opened and, at the center, a familiar figure appeared. He was there, Michael Jackson. He was dressed in white, with golden details that reflected like rays of sunlight. His face carried serenity, and his eyes shone as though they were mirrors of eternity. No one screamed. No one clapped. The silence was absolute, but it was not an empty silence. It was a silence full of reverence, like when you witness something sacred. He opened his arms, and at that moment it seemed as though the weight of all the world's pain disappeared. It was as if each person there had been touched by a presence that could not be explained, only felt. And then the music began. They were not familiar songs. There was no Billie Jean, no Thriller, no Beat It. These were songs no one had ever heard before, as if they had been composed for that unique moment. The first song was called Light of Forever. It was soft, almost like a prayer. It spoke of the light that never fades, the flame that continues even when the night feels endless. The second song, more intense, was called Children of Tomorrow. It was dedicated to children, to the future, to the hope of a better world. As he sang, images of children playing, running, and smiling seemed to appear on the invisible walls of that space. And then came the third, Dance of Eternity. It was not just a song. It was a choreography. Michael danced as though he were levitating. Every step, every movement felt like a prayer. His body became an instrument of something greater than himself. The people who were there described that they did not simply see an artist performing. They saw a soul dancing with eternity. In the middle of the spectacle, the music ceased. Michael walked to the center of the stage and, for a few seconds, simply looked at the audience. His gaze was deep, yet serene. He did not seem to speak to a crowd, but to each person individually. In a gentle voice, he said, "If one day my voice falls silent, remember love never ends. I do not belong only to the stage. I belong to you. Every beat of my heart lives in the beat of yours. Every step of my dance echoes in the steps of your life. I am not just a singer. I am a reflection of the music that exists in you. And it never dies. It was as though time itself had stopped. Some cried. Others smiled in silence. Everyone, without exception, felt that they were standing before farewell. Not a sad farewell, but goodbye that sounded like a promise of continuity. The final song began. It was slow, deep, filled with emotion. Each note seemed to dissolve into the air like stars falling from the sky. The stage began to fade softly, as if it were disappearing into another dimension. Michael opened his arms one last time. He smiled, and then vanished into the same light from which he had appeared. There was no applause, no screams, only silence, but it was a silence filled with tears and gratitude. People looked at each other, trying to understand, but no one said a word. When they returned home, they realized there were no records, no footage, no proof they had been there. It was as if it had all been a dream, but a dream that left a mark so real that no one could ever forget it. To this day, no one knows if the secret show really happened. Some claim it was nothing but imagination, a tale invented to comfort hearts. Others swear they felt it, that they lived it, that they heard his voice on that mysterious night. But perhaps the mystery does not lie in proving whether it happened or not. Perhaps the secret lies in understanding that Michael Jackson's true legacy was not only the recorded music, the videos, or the grand concerts. His true legacy was the certainty that art can outlive death, that music can exist beyond time, that love, when it is true, never dies. And so, the secret show remains, not in arenas, not in recordings, but on the silent stage of the heart of every fan who still hears his voice when they close their eyes. Because in the end, perhaps the spectacle was never meant for the masses, but for each person who, at some moment in life, found strength, hope, and light in the music of Michael Jackson. And this is a show the world never saw, but one it will never forget.